Okay, well, my name's Jeff Rebeck and I teach on the Postgraduate Certificate of Education here at Christchurch in the 14 to 19 programme. So these are students who are mainly looking to teach in subjects that are taught at O and A level and access courses as well, preparing for university. And one thing that's really captured my attention this year that I'm working with very closely with my students is the way technology has moved away from the use of shared spaces to what one might call personalised technology. You know, instead of technology for the many, it's now technology for the one, you know, the way technology actually orbits around us as individuals. The PGC is characterised by students being out on placement a lot of the time. So they have not much class time together relative to the time they're actually out working on their own or working with mentors in schools. So we were looking for a tool that provided that kind of social binding that we were losing by having our students out on placement for a lot of the time, that sense of belonging. My students bring their technology with them to class. We call it over-the-shoulder learning, the idea that the student comes with a shoulder bag, but they actually carry their own devices as well as their own software, and now of course their own content on that software as well. So we really are having students managing their own learning, and the need for them to be in the same space at the same time in order to learn is starting to slip for them. And certainly in my classes now, we've moved away from this convention that everyone has to face the same wall in order to learn. Two technologies I've looked at in particular. The first is PebblePad. The university actually uses Pebble here, it has a license for it. But the nice thing is that not only can I use it with the students whilst they're on course, but when they leave here, they're able to take Pebble with them for life, for free, which is excellent news. I'm particularly interested in how that might affect their NQT year as well, because they can take that on there. The other thing that we've done this year that I've been very pleased about actually is that we've used WhatsApp as a social conversation tool. And in essence, what's happened is that it's really replaced email as a means of asynchronous communication between me and the students, but actually between the students themselves. I don't actually run the WhatsApp account, the student rep for the class runs that account, and she was gracious enough to add me in. What this means is that the students for the first time now have an opportunity to use a personal space to collect examples of teaching, experiences, collaborative effort and so forth in their own learning space, such that they can then marshal it in ways to summarise and tell their own learning story, and then of course present it as well. It's given my students, if you like, the opportunity to move beyond simply having a certificate of qualification which they take out into the workplace, to actually have a portfolio of their accomplishments and their achievements, which is supported by their academic learning, which they can show to the world. And I've tried to instill in my students the importance, particularly in teaching now, the way technology can actually capture unique learning journeys, rather than people subscribing to a sort of a centralised shared space. But also, because of this personalised learning, I'm finding that my students are able to tell unique learning journey stories as well. This is about what each of them does as part of their postgraduate certificate journey as they go along. And many, I think, have actually found that quite inspirational, because it gives a sense of freedom, if you like, to explore what teaching means to me and the context of the teaching that I want to get into when I leave university, and I think that that's actually been quite important for them. And I'm hoping that they're catching these lessons and these ideas, because anything that they do here as a student in this university are ideas about how they can teach when they go off to work with their students. So I'm very keen to make sure that they're using those sort of technologies really to sort of say, how can I use this with my students? Now, Pebble is actually very much a university level tool, but there are loads of other portfolios out there that have exactly the same pedagogical principles that are perfectly suitable to use in schools and in FE colleges as well. So they will take those lessons with them, if not that particular software, and that's absolutely great. So whilst they may be asking technical questions about when's my assignment got to be due, or does anyone got a good resource for X, Y, or Z, what they're actually doing is that they're providing that kind of social glue that holds a group of like-minded people together who are pursuing the same goals in a supportive environment. And I think that that has actually been crucial to help keeping students on course and keeping them on track and keeping them going with us. It's remarkable how that's worked. Not only do people ask sensible questions about course administration, but people talk about the loss of grandparents, and other students have supported that. And that's all happening there. I was saying, really sorry to hear that. And you know, the class is supporting each other with personal issues and private issues as well as professional issues. And that's what I mean by this idea of the social glue, if you like, that's holding the course together and actually turning a group of like-minded students into a group of friends, even though, of course, they're not always necessarily in college at the same time.